Doctor Who vinyl record review. Today we'll take a look at another release from Record Store Day 2018. This time it is the fourth Doctor story, double LP of the City of Death. Now this was released for Record Store Day this year, and I have previously reviewed the other release being Tomb of the Cybermen, so if you would like to check out that review, then I definitely recommend doing so. I did in fact review it quite near to Record Store Day. This one has took a while to come out due to exams and things like that, so I finally got around to listening to it. And much like the Tomb of the Cybermen record, this is a double LP, this time in a snazzy green, and it is a rather nice yet interesting release. Much like in the Tomb of the Cybermen record review, I'm not going to be strictly going into the actual story and reviewing that in an episode review kind of format because I don't really want to. This is mainly solely around the actual vinyl itself, and I'll sort of briefly go over the story and I'll say how it's presented in the television soundtrack format because it is a little bit different to the actual story itself. As per usual, this release, as I say, was released for Record Store Day, was around £30 or something like that. However, since then, there is a few on Amazon at the minute, currently around £25, so a little bit less money, which is good for those people who would like it. So I do recommend definitely checking out if you like what you see in this video. Check in the previous review of Tomb of the Cybermen. As you can see, we have this really nice cover that has been illustrated with the Cybermen on the very front there, and then the same for the back as well. This one has been designed by Lee Binding and is in fact very stunning. I don't know what way this has been released before. I know that it's not a completely brand new thing. I think that it's been released on CD, and this is the first ever time that's been released in vinyl. But yeah, this actual cover art and the sleeve notes on the inside are completely brand new, so definitely one of which that's worth adding to the collection if you collect Doctor Who vinyls. And of course, to start off with, as this is a vinyl review, I'll be taking a look at the product first before moving on to the actual audio of the story. Taking a look at the actual vinyl record itself, I think that if you're somebody who's considering buying this, no doubt it's probably because how the physical product actually looks, because it does look visually stunning and it looks wonderful on display. So as you can see at the very front, we have a slightly different design to the Tomb of the Cybermen, where we are following the sort of diamond design format that we've seen on numerous amounts of Doctor Who classic merchandise. Once again, this has been done by Lee Binding, much like the recent season 12 4th Doctor box set, for a really nice, stunning, inspired piece of artwork on the front here. So as you can see at the very top, we get the Doctor Who logo in grey, along with City of Death, and then at the very bottom, you get the title of this piece being the original BBC television soundtrack starring Tom Baker, narrated by Layla Ward, with the BBC logo in the bottom corner. The diamond design established around the side with sort of this dark blue with sort of it almost glow emitting from the image in the very centre. Then we have Scaroth, last of the Jaguaroth, at the very bottom with once again a little bit of a glow coming from him. And what is really nice to see is we have this green glow coming around the rest of the piece as well, including the Eiffel Tower in the centrepiece at the top there. Really nicely making the piece look eye-catching. And we have the 4th Doctor using a rather nice amount of vibrant colours, grinning away as per usual with the massive teeth and curls that he has. And then we have Layla Ward at the opposite side, once again styled to be how she is in the actual story, in that rather unusual costume that she has with the straw hat, rather nicely painted once again. And then we have her really nicely posed to in fact look like the Mona Lisa. As you can see, her hand comes over her side there, and then she's kind of clutching her other arm, much like how the Mona Lisa actually does, which is a really intricate little detail that I didn't in fact pick up on first time around. So I really do love the way that Lee's in fact done that. It's a really nice little feature which I do quite like, a rather subtle reference to the setting of this story. Taking a look at the sides of the vinyl, we just have the Doctor Who logo once again and the City of Death along the product code at the bottom, and then on the back of the release, once again, Doctor Who City of Death starring Tom Baker and Layla Ward. And then we have the different details for this release being LP1, Side A and Side B, and then LP2, Side C and Side D, with the different episode dates at the very bottom along the time that they aired on BBC One. On the cling film of the packaging, we do also have this green sticker that reads exclusive to Record Store Day 2018, along with two 108-gram heavyweight green vinyls, and the first time on vinyl, much like the Tomb of the Cybermen release. So that is nice in case you are planning on keeping this in the cellophane. The inside of the vinyl sleeve itself now, as this is a double LP, we do have a little bit of information about the story, along with some rather nice images from the photo shoot for the actual story itself. So we have Layla and Tom there by the Eiffel Tower, along with some rather nice information about the story. And then on the opposite side, once again, another image at the very top with the 4th Doctor and Layla nicely wandering around Paris. And then we have a little bit more information along the side, along with some recording details and the casting credits at the bottom as well, the people that appeared within this story. Including this rather nice little feature, one of the people that's actually seen the story, the art lovers, which in fact one of them is played by John Cleese, a rather nice little Easter egg. First of the vinyl sleeves has been done in a dark blue with the title of the set on the front and then the details on the back being Side A and Side B. And then the second one is in fact once again much like the Cybermen in the silver design, and the actual vinyl itself is in this rather stunning sort of fluorescent greeny blue colour, which is very eye-catching and very unusual. And as per usual, we have the Doctor Who and City of Death logo printed in the very middle. Overall, for the actual product itself, I think that if you are used to Doctor Who vinyls, you know what to expect with this release. Really nice, stunning artwork on the front and looks very visually pleasing. And I think that if you're looking for a product to add to your collection and not necessarily people will have, I think that this is definitely something worth considering buying because it does look very nice when on display. And the actual vinyl itself is a very nice green. So yeah, I do recommend picking this product up because it is a very good high quality. However, if you're not a fan of the City of Death, it's probably one of those episodes worth missing out on. I do also like the way that this is completely unique in design, especially when compared to the Tomb of the Cybermen vinyl, as you can see, which is completely different with the illustrated front cover and almost that cold white design on the front. So that's it for the actual vinyl itself. Now taking a look at the actual story, I think that this one is a rather interesting one because as it comes to Doctor Who, especially in the 4th Doctor era, the City of Death seems to be quite a nostalgic, iconic Doctor Who story. I think partly because it's on location in Paris and we have a lot of promo images of the 4th Doctor from that story, and visually it looks very pleasing. The villain for this story, of course, Scaroth, Last of the Jaggeroth, is green with his big eye in the very middle, sort of having that snake-like green feature, and he is once again very eye-catching. So everything about this story is very visual, seeing the 4th Doctor with the Mona Lisa, with his big massive scarf right near sort of the Eiffel Tower. It is very nice to look at. However, I do think the actual story itself may be something that is a little bit over-exaggerated. I think that it is a rather interesting plot, having this person called Scarleone that is basically scattered through time in sort of different versions of himself, because at the very start of the story his spaceship explodes and he's basically, as I say, splintered through time, and he needs to try and create this time travel technology to get back to the start of humanity, to get back to a spaceship, to essentially stop him from blowing up his own spaceship and causing splintering through time. So yeah, it's a little bit of sort of causing and preventing your own death kind of story. And yeah, the episode itself is an interesting one. It's quite nicely represented on vinyl itself. The odd thing is though, however, I think the thing with Tomb of the Cybermen is it had that appeal behind it. I think the fact that it was a black and white 60s story and it had the Cybermen in, it kind of has a selling point. I think that especially hearing the cybernetic voice on vinyl is something very much to look forward to. However, the odd thing with the City of Death is I can't exactly pluck anything out that I think is completely standout for the vinyl format. I think the only thing that I can mainly maybe even suggest sounds good on vinyl is the actual soundtrack to the story. So the you know, the music soundtrack that is quite iconic. That was rather good, but other than that, there wasn't really anything standout for this release. It's definitely one that I recommend more so to the collectors that might not necessarily listen to the story. But with the Tomb of the Cybermen vinyl, basically the way that this episode is set out is exactly the same to the televised story. We have all 4 parts at around half an hour long, and basically you have extracted narration from the actual story. So you have the 4th Doctor speaking, played by Tom Baker, and they have Layla Ward in there as well as Romana, and I do believe Julian Glover, or whatever his name is, for Scarleone, and the other people. You have all of that in the story, but the mainly visual stuff that you can't in fact see because it's an audio piece is in fact narrated by Layla Ward. So it is essentially a bit of a mix between an audio drama and an audio book, because you have certain descriptive moments. It is a little bit like, if you're aware of the Big Finish line, kind of the early range, sort of describing a few of the stuff in that you can't exactly see because it's not visual. So yeah, it's quite fun, but at the same time, I think Tomb of the Cybermen maybe followed the story a little bit better. There was occasional moments throughout this vinyl especially where I kind of felt that it didn't keep my attention going. It sort of was a nice one to listen to, but at the same time, you could kind of fade out and then go and do something else and then come back to the story and not really be confused of where you're at. It's kind of a very simplistic plot, and yeah, it doesn't really have the oomph behind it, but I do still kind of like it. It's a similar situation to the Tomb of the Cybermen vinyl, where people say, why does this exist? Because I can understand why books exist, because people enjoy reading. I understand why the Big Finish audio dramas exist, because people enjoy listening to audio plays. I understand why audiobooks exist, because people like listening to people actually reading stories. However, this is a blend between kind of the episode itself and an audiobook, and I think that this will have probably a very niche audience, and I think that it's just one of those things where I can't exactly give it a main pivotal sort of point of this is why it exists and this is why you should buy it, because I think if you're a fan of the story, you may as well just watch it or read it. I think that this definitely isn't a crucial thing for your collection. However, if you're a big fan of City of Death and like it in many different formats, I definitely recommend adding this one to your collection, and especially if you're a Doctor Who vinyl fan as well, this one is rather visually stunning. As you've seen earlier, it is bright green in kind of that fluorescent format, and the cover done by Lee Binding as well is very impressive. So generally it is nice, a visual collector's piece, but at the same time, the story itself is not exactly anything that you're going to miss out on. This vinyl is a really nice thing to listen to if you're a fan of the Fourth Doctor, because this, as with any audio drama release with the Fourth Doctor in, Tom Baker's voice just works so well in the audio drama format because it's loud, it has a presence behind it, and everything is really nicely said, and I think there is quite a lot of comedic moments, especially as he interacts with different people. Introduced to this sort of investigator throughout the story that he has this rather nice relationship with as well, and there is quite a few funny moments, and I just like the way that Tom Baker is very quirky, very funny, definitely makes an entertaining sort of element to his stories. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the very start of this review, I mentioned that The City of Death is a very visual story because you've got the Mona Lisa, you've got the location, you've got this bright doctor with his massive scarf. However, this, because it is a vinyl, takes that visual element completely away. But kind of like doing an audio drama to something like Blink, where one of the main elements behind it is that visual impact. And yet I kind of feel like this is still a nice addition, but I do think that it's not necessarily needed. But yeah, for my review of the Doctor Who Record Store Day limited edition exclusive double LP of the Fourth Doctor story, The City of Death, in snazzy green, just giving a look at that vinyl once again and how lovely it looks. Actually, what you are buying it for, this very lovely green here, and to be honest, I think that's kind of worth it if you're a fan of that coloured green, because it is a rather nice and stunning vibrant green. Not a vital one for the collection, however, if you're a Doctor Who vinyl fan, then no doubt this is one worth picking up, especially if you see it on reduced from the recommended retail. Maybe anything below sort of £20 to £15 is a really good price for this, because it's just a nice thing to add to the collection, and the actual physical vinyl art itself is something that looks very visually pleasing on the shelf. So yeah, overall, a nice piece, however, not completely crucial. Thanks for watching this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will have probably a few more vinyl reviews coming in the near future, I do hope. I don't actually have any more Doctor Who vinyls, I think, because the Big Finish series is currently on a little bit of a hold. We had over 2 months of Energy of the Daleks and Infamy of Zaros, which I've already reviewed, so if you've not checked those out, then I recommend doing so with them. I think I have the Ghostlight soundtrack that I might review, maybe, if people want that. But other than that, at the current time of filming, kind of the vinyl soundtracks have kind of been put on hold when it comes to the Doctor Who releases. I don't know what's going on with them, so yeah, it will be nice to get some more information on those soon. If so, I will review them, and I guess I will wait until then, until the next vinyl review, which no doubt will be coming at some point in the coming months. Much more coming in the future, from product reviews, from figure reviews, from audio drama reviews, and everything else that I cover on this channel. So thanks for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.